Aloha, everyone. Happy 4th of July weekend. Have fun and be safe. The stock market is definitely being safe, but it's not having that much fun. As we can see, all of the indexes finished lower on the day. However, the Russell 2000 was the weakest of the bunch. And I want to make mention, its low was 1246.60. It eclipsed that and hit 1244.63. So the Russell 2000 has already violated its Monday low. That is not the best, scenario. MACD has rolled over below its moving average. Stochastics is firmly heading lower, and so is RSI. I don't recommend standing in the way of that. So the Russell 2000 looks like that it might want to soon switch to a sell condition. If the volume is huge and we break these levels here on the May, I think we're converging up from the moving averages that I would go ahead and switch that index to a sell signal. Obviously, the 200-day moving average is always the final line in the sand, but the Russell 2000 is not looking well. The Nasdaq is still holding those lows. However, as you can see now with the volume on this chart, this is very dead cattish looking. We kind of slowly are moving up overall, kind of, each day. Today we're barely down. But each day, volume is lower and lower and lower and lower. And still, we have a long way to go before we get oversold on any of these oscillators. So we're not out of the woods yet at all in the NASDAQ. So it looks very dead cattish. Same with SP 500 ever since that low on Monday. Initial big volume day, but look at the intraday action. That's not bullish. That's bearish. You finish near the highs, it's bullish. And then since then, lower volume bounce. Once again, can't close near the highs. And then boom, now we're on lower volume. And once again, we can't close near the highs. So if you notice those tails away from the high of the day, you will notice that on all of the indexes, that is not good if you really think that that sell-off on Monday was all to come. So the indexes are looking weak, and with that being said, and with the recent action of some of our longs, let's look at our speculative long positions. CTRV is working. I've moved up my final sell stop to right below the low day of the signal date now. I'm not going to give it any more room. But CTRV looks good, okay, so that is one. Very speculative, looks good. But CHRS, after its initial first day of strength, look at how it reacted its second day. It's still good and strong overall, but that's a pretty big intraday pullback. And then ATRC, a recent long, while it's still good, technically though, this was the long signal here. Convincing close below 24. You got to get out of half of it. I always use the day before since it's so close to, oh, it was 24, not actually 24.02. That was our long signal right there. So that was our long signal, 24.08. So here was our long signal in ATRC right here. The very first day after getting long, we have an overall engulfing day, bearish engulfing day, opened higher and then closed lower below the low of the day. You could have technically have gotten out of half of there, but I, of course, recommend that we go ahead and use the recent lows here of 24 from this pocket pivot point signal because that was kind of the breakout day. This was kind of like an add signal from the breakout day whenever we got our initial long signal thanks to the BOP surge. So overall, it's good, but on Thursday, it sold off below the 24 level and closed below the 24 level, giving a 50% end of day sell signal. However, on the intraday session, it moved below 23.71, which is where my final sell stop was. So I've already been taken out of ATRC. That is no good on that one. And then the HCKT ad is still working, but it isn't necessarily exploding higher. So on that ad signal, the final sell stop is at 13.01 now. I was using down here 12.80, but I've moved it up to that level. And then BLKB was a recent long. You can see on its first day, it was a long signal on Wednesday. On its first day, kind of a bearish engulfing day, but everything looks good so far, but still not the best action. LXFT worked, but then also our speculative position NMIH, another one of those bearish kind of like engulfing days. So you can see that our long positions aren't necessarily failing, but they're not working right out of the gate. And don't forget, before that we had TRR fail, but it has come back, so it's kind of a little crazy market. But SGBK on the other hand failed early, and it keeps failing. So it's pretty mixed out there, which is why now we are reducing long positions. So while I have a new long position tonight in MIDD that's canceling quality, it is not 2.5%, it is only 2%. And if we're wrong, we don't risk much. You can have your first sell stop below either 112.45, 111.93, and then you could also use 111.60. I'd probably recommend having half below 112.45 and then the final half below 111.27. Or you can have it all below 111.27 because you really don't risk much. If you're wrong, you risk about a little bit over 3%. So we're only going to risk 3% for a potential another measured move of over 100% if it breaks out here. You can see how much it moved last time. So the risk reward is really good. It's just the market is not that good. So MIDD, 2% long position. And then we have another ad signal in HLTH. And I tell you what, if this was a bull market, oh, I'd be so stoked out of my gore out of this one because we already got 2 long signals. Did we get 3 or was it 2? Maybe I took this long signal. Maybe it was this one as an ad. But I can't remember if I took all 2 or 3 of those. But either way, we got those long signals, and then it unfortunately failed. And then after the big down day, we got a big new long signal in HLTH. And then since then, we've gotten another ad signal in HLTH. And now we got another ad signal. And then we're getting now another ad signal here whenever it retakes its 50-day moving average. So HLTH has shown up quite a bit. This was the best ad signal, and you can see that it was not able to hold its intraday low a day, but we used these levels, 645 on it. So that held, so that's important. We've got to establish some higher lows, and now we've got higher highs with HLTH breaking out above the 50-day moving average on a quiet market day on Thursday. It has a huge volume surge, and BOP also, after going from green BOP to yellow BOP, immediately surges back to max green BOP. So this is an excellent signal. But unfortunately, the market is what it is. So it's only a 0.5% ad signal. It is not a 1% ad signal. I guess technically a new long signal would be 1%, so the ad signal would be 0.5%. So if we're doing it that way, then this ad signal, based on what I just said, would only be 0.25%, correct? Correct. But this chart, like I said, if this was a bull market, I would be losing my mind internally over how beautiful it is. The earnings, I don't have my markets, or do I have it up? I do have it up, so I can bring it up. But look at the earnings estimates for HLTH in 2015 and 16. Market Smith's been acting funny, but there it is. So 2015, 142, 2016, 62. Look at the sales growth, absolutely explosive. So, this is just a great stock that if it was a good market, I would really like. But I only like it. But 0.5% ad, 2% new long signal mid. And then intraday, I also got knocked out of LHCG. LHCG moved below this low a day of 36.73. By an end of day basis, it's still a hold. But you can see that's getting ugly. And EGRX hit I had 50% sell stop below this low a day. It hit it intraday. This chart is starting to get ugly on the short term. So we're starting to see more of these in our holdings that we didn't see. IVC is a 50% end of day sell signal. I'm already out of all of it. ATRC 50%, already out of all of it. ZIOP 50%. What I would do is just go ahead and I'm still going to go ahead and get out a half at 11.11. And because the chart's still good, I'm going to go ahead and then use 11. I know it's splitting hairs, but I think, it'll cost me like an extra $10 if I wait to make sure the 11 level fails. But it is breaking below its 20-day moving average before producing any gains. So ZIOP automatically has to have half of it at least sold if it moves below 11.12. And then CMPR on an end-of-day basis failed. Finally, I think I said above average volume on my new positions page, but I wasn't looking at it again. But the bottom line is it failed these lows of the signal date and more importantly this low right here, which was my final lows to keep on holding it. But CMPR failed on me 2 days ago on 6/30.